Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be going through my predictions for the Manchester City ratings on the new game FC26. I've already seen a couple of leaks, but don't worry, these are still just my predictions, and those leaks aren't necessarily confirmed. What I've been doing for this series is I'm doing the top 20 highest rated cards from each club in my opinion, because I'm not going to be bothered doing all the random silvers and bronzes that I've never seen make a single appearance for the club. We started things off with Bayern, as that's my team, and now we're going to Manchester City because I watch a lot of Manchester City. But before we get into the ratings, I just want to say there's two ways of looking at Man City's season last year. It's bad or it ended out okay. And I'm looking at this as more a perspective of it ended out okay. Because apart from that 13 game spell and Mbappe dunking a hat trick, Manchester City were actually really good throughout most of the season. So I think it's still fair that some players deserve upgrades. But you'll see where I've drawn the line of people who got better and people who got worse. And I think most people will agree that Rico Lewis at number 20 is fair with a +3. He didn't get any worse last season, did he? He's just progressing as a player, in my opinion. 79 rated. I've made him a rare as well. I struggle to figure out his position. Is he a right back? Is he a midfielder? I don't necessarily know. I've given him the right back position, but he'll most certainly have DM and centre mid as his positions as well. Even as a day one card, I don't really see many people using this. But at number 19, I think this card will be very good on day one because Matheus Nunes will get a bit of a defensive upgrade. He's put in a solid shift at right back for Man City last season, but he will obviously have centre mid as an alternate position. And I think with those stats very well rounded, for maybe under 2k, getting him early doors in with press proven, he'll be a really good option in the midfield. And at number 18, I've gone for Jeremy Doku. I think he is a very talented player, but his final product, his end product, the final pass, the shot is lacking. Hence why I've only given him a +1. He was injured for a fair little bit of last season, but I think when he plays, we know he's a 90-minute threat down the wing. So I've also additionally given him the relentless play style because he will always be running at that fullback non-stop the whole entire game. Good starter card for sure. And at number 17 is Stefan Ortega. He's been a solid second choice goalkeeper for Man City. There's not that big of a drop off when Edison isn't playing, so I think it's only deserved that he gets a +1. And then at 16, I've gone for Manuel Akanji, and to be honest, this is probably quite harsh. I should have gone for a -1 instead of a -2, but hey, we're here. I just think he's declining as a player, to be completely honest with you. I did, however, give him the anticipate playstyle, which he didn't previously have, so this card will probably be better than it was on the last game. Although apparently they're nerfing playstyles a little bit, so maybe the playstyles won't matter as much. And by the way, guys, let me know what you think of these graphics throughout the video. I decided to try and spruce things up a little bit, and I think it looks pretty solid. So anyway, continue on to number 15, and I've gone for Ryan Ait-Nouri. I might have been a little bit generous with this upgrade, considering he played for Wolves last season, and they just ended up doing okay overall, but they finished the season quite well, and I think he showed that he is a very talented player. Maybe a winger in disguise at fullback, and I think EA are going to be generous with his upgrade because he's moving to a big team and he's going to play a lot of games. I mean, he got that injury against Spurs, but I still think he'll make a lot of appearances this season for Man City. Maybe the defending's a little bit low for a starter card, but I think he'll be alright. And at number 14 is Cherki. Wow, this man is getting compared to every fat Arabic man I have ever seen after dropping one bad performance against Tottenham. Fun card to start things off, 5-star, 5-star. I do think EA will give him at least an 80 rated card. I've gone for 82 because I think his dribbling is going to be so high that they can't go much lower. And because he's such a technically gifted player, I've decided to give him technical plus and half of the ball control / dribbling playstyles, whatever you want to call it. He's probably a bit slow on the game, but I think it'll be a good one to use. There's very rarely been 5-star cards in the Premier League. I actually can't think of a single one right now. And then at number 13, I've gone for Savinho. Probably should have made him a right winger. That's my bad. I've just given him a humble +1 because career progression, and he was not awful last season. He had some really good moments, and I've given him whipped pass for that assist to Haaland against West Ham. There was that thing going around where people were saying he was 007 in the Prem, but it actually wasn't true. He got an assist in his first game or second game, I believe. Still not great that he went on a big run of without scoring or assisting. But I think if you look at his individual performances in the game, not necessarily just goal contributions, he was solid for Man City last season. I can't remember if he got the assist or not, but I remember he created Haaland's goal against Arsenal early on in the season, the 2-2 draw, which was riddled with controversy. But we've spent enough time talking about Savinho. On to number 12, which is Ake. I just think he didn't play a crazy amount last season. He's not getting any younger. We'll give him a -1. I also gave him Jockey as a base playstyle, which he didn't previously have. And at number 11, another -1. You can see a theme here with some of the older players getting -1s and the younger players getting upgrades. Is John Stones as another -1. Didn't play a crazy amount last season, and I just don't think he is at the same level he was in the treble-winning season where he could invert into midfield. It wasn't even necessarily inverting, but push up into midfield from centre-back and play alongside Rodri almost as the second DM. Although I have given him technical as a base play style, not because he's as technical as a winger per se, but compared to other centre-backs, I feel like he deserves that play style, even though I've just said he's not as good at doing that anymore. And when I say he's not going to get to that treble winning level, I voted him in my team of the year for FIFA, so I just don't see that happening ever again with him. 84 rated's fair. And then I've gone for Josko Gvardiol, and that's really pissed me off. I've accidentally put his card like 3 pixels too low down. As you can see, if I switch back and forward, that has really pissed me off. Anyway, he's going to be an incredible card on the game, I think. Obviously, left back with those stats is good, but a little bit slow. He's obviously going to have the centre-back alternate position, and I don't see how EA can't give him 5-star weak foot, given that he's scored those shots from outside the box on his weaker foot. If they don't give him 5-star weak foot, I think they're just trying to balance his card out. The only downside maybe at centre-back is he doesn't have Anticipate or Bruiser or anything like that. I have taken away his Block Plus because I don't necessarily think he deserved that. But building out from the back with ping pass and long ball is going to be very good. And depending on how custom tactics work on the next game, if you can put him at DM or even as a defensive-minded central midfielder, with those stats, he'll be incredible and even be able to score some goals for you. And then next up at number 9 is Ilkay Gundogan. Again, another old player getting downgrades. He actually started off the season badly. I'm not going to say he wasn't great. He actually was very poor for Man City. Towards the end, was performing a little bit better, to be fair, but I've given him a -2. I think that's completely fair. But in a sense, I have upgraded him as I've given him the low-driven play style. Just because I think those late runs into the box, he can smash the ball in. Maybe that warrants more of a power shot. But with what looks like it's going to be the most versatile play style next game, I think it'll be an interesting one to have on Gundogan. Bit too slow for the midfield, though, I think. Oh, and I have taken away his first touch plus and put it as just base first touch. And at number 8, an upgrade, Tijani Reinders. This rating is just based off his season at Milan, and I did actually create this concept card before he played for Man City. This was before the Premier League season started, and he had that absolute masterclass against Wolves. People saying he was bad against Spurs. City were bad as a whole against Spurs. But honestly, if I could go back, and I definitely could go back and recreate this card, but I'm going to be honest, I would give him an 86 rating. 85 though it's not crazy. These are almost the same play styles he had on the last game. The only difference is I got rid of power shot and gave him low driven. I think that's the only difference. Just because I imagine him more as slotting it in the bottom corner instead of smashing it into the top corner. But with those well-rounded stats and technical plus, with all those playstyles, I think he's going to be a very, very expensive midfielder. Just imagine this card with an anchor playstyle. He'll have 80s in all stats and be getting close to 90 pace, like 88 pace I think he'll be at. This is going to be beyond almost anyone watching this video's budget for their team, I think. And then at number 7, another huge upgrade, Omar Marmoush. I could hear him being 84 rated, as I think I might have gone a little bit too high with 85. I'm thinking of his time in the Bundesliga a bit too much, because he was incredible in the Bundesliga and even in the Europa League for Frankfurt as well. As soon as he moved to Man City, you can see his numbers dropped a bit, but I think in the Prem he still had a goal every other game, which is very good, by the way. If you keep that up for a whole season, you get 19 goals. Do you know what I mean? When you're playing alongside Haaland, that's pretty damn good in my opinion. He is a master of scoring all different types of goals. He's got the power, he's got the finesse, He's got the cheek to chip the goalkeeper. He can even take free kicks. I maybe should have given him dead ball as well, but I didn't want to give him every single shooting play style. Now, this is going to sound like an absolutely mental comparison, but when I think of Omar Marmoush shooting, maybe minus volleys, it reminds me a little bit of Wayne Rooney. I'm not saying the ability, but just the desire to, I'm going to score from anywhere. I'm going to leather it, or I'm going to place it. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get this ball in the back of the net. Obviously, he's not as great of a playmaker, or he's not as much of a workhorse as Wayne Rooney, but if we're looking just specifically from desire to score goals, I see some similarities there. Anyway, no one's going to agree with me in the comments. He is going to be an insanely good card on the next game. Very fast, very good at shooting, pretty damn good at dribbling as well. Maybe I should have given him an 84 rated, because EA are probably going to look more at his time in the Premier League than his time in the Bundesliga when deciding his rating. But either way, he's going to be great. And at number 6, another -1 is Bernardo Silva. Started off the season slowly, but again, similarly to Gundogan, came into his own at the end of the season. I wouldn't say he was back at prime Bernardo Silva, which is why I've given him a -1, but he was good enough to start, in my opinion, at the end. You've got to give him technical plus. He's one of the best dribblers in the world, or best close control dribblers. He's not a touchline winger or anything like that. I think he's just going to be a bit too slow at the start of the game, though. He'll be one of those early door fodder cards. And then at number 5 is Ruben Diaz, another player who's probably too slow. I might have been a bit harsh with the -2. Maybe a -1 would be fair, but I just don't think Ruben Diaz is at that level he was up until winning the treble. At Manchester City, from the 2021 season to the 22-23 season, Ruben Diaz was a top 3 centre-back in the world, in my opinion. In fact, in the 2021 season, I think he potentially could have been the best centre-back in the world. He absolutely revolutionised Manchester City's defence. That was their problem for years. They could leak goals at the back. He commanded that defence. He did everything for them. Put his body on the line, won the ball, was a strong physical presence. There's not much more that can be said about him, but I just don't see him as that sort of player anymore. He's a little bit weak on the ball at times. So I just see him as more of an 86 rated player now. And at number 4, another -1 is Edison. I just don't think he's that great at shot stopping, so I have to give him a -1. I'm not crazy into analyzing goalkeepers or anything like that. I'm not that clued up on how goalkeepers play and that sort of thing. I also think it's a bit of a myth that Edison's a great ball player. I think he gives Pep a heart attack nearly every game by rushing out or trying to play some pass that fails. What I think Edison's best at, funnily enough, which goes against Pep's philosophy in the last few years, is hitting it long, but accurately, not just clearing it. Long balls. He's got the long ball plus play style, and I think he has the world record for longest kick. We saw that a couple of times last season with Haaland, so I've kept his kicking stat the same, but everything else has gone down. And then at number 3 is Phil Foden. I've seen some people saying he should go all the way down to 85. I don't necessarily agree. You got to give him a little bit of leeway, because he was injured on and off for quite a lot of last season, and it's not like when he played he was awful. I think he was just quiet in most of those games. He had one good stretch of form where I honestly think he could have won Premier League Player of the Month. And his season does not warrant him getting Finesse Shot Plus, but I've given him Finesse Shot Plus because he should have had that on the last game. Honestly, they'll probably keep him as Technical Plus, which is completely fair. He definitely needs the Finesse Shot playstyle as well, and I think he deserves Low Driven as well. Phil Foden is definitely one of the most talented players in the world. I don't think there's any denying that. It would be too harsh to give him a big downgrade off one off season, considering he has been getting better and better every single season for the last 5 seasons before that. I could maybe hear an 86, but there's no way he's getting 85 for me. And then at number 2 is another downgrade in Rodri. He didn't play the whole season, and I think sometimes it can be harsh to downgrade someone if they don't play the whole season, but when you're the highest rated player on the game, you can't stay as the highest rated player on the game if you haven't played, in my opinion. That's the only reason he gets a downgrade. And then with Haaland, I've also given him a -1, but I've given him some better play styles to kind of balance it out. For me, a player like Erling Haaland can only be equal to Mbappe in rating on the game. I still think Mbappe is a better player because he's not even that far behind in the ability to score, and he's better at everything else, except strength, I guess. But with Haaland, if he's going to be 91, 92 rated, that sort of thing, I think he needs to be hitting close to 30 in the Prem. And not being, he doesn't have to be like 53 goals winning the treble every season, but he needs to get closer to that level. I mean, 90 rated, you're still the second highest rated striker on the game. So I don't think Erling Haaland. In the comments, Erling, let me know if you're unhappy about this. I've also given him a 4-star weak foot. I think 3-star was a bit harsh to begin with. So he's probably going to be better on the game now than he was on the last one. But -1. So a lot of ups and downs for Manchester City's ratings. Let me know calmly what you think about the ratings I've given them in the comments down below. I'm certainly excited for the new game. I have not played FC25 in a little while. I'll do some of the preseason objectives so I can get some packs to open on the new game for you guys. But yeah, I hope seeing some of the concept cards got you excited for the new game. Sounds like I'm trying to sell it. Not that you have to buy the game or anything like that. I'm not forcing you to. But what I am going to force you to do, is to like and subscribe to the channel. I actually don't know how many subscribers we're on. But we're probably like around 700 something, 740, 750, I think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.